Well, coming up on show 544, good news for my German listeners. I talked about Nissan's issues yesterday. We'll get onto that today. And another 5-star rating for a Tesla. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you're listening in the world, welcome to the show. This is EV News Daily, your edition for Wednesday, 31st of July, last day of the month. And this is what you missed in the last 24 hours. My name is Martin Lee, and I bring you this show with myev.com. In the USA, if you are in the market for buying an EV, or maybe you're selling, it's a totally free, safe, and secure way of advertising and buying an EV. You can direct message the people involved, like I say, in a safe and secure way that will connect you to buyers and sellers. myev.com. So, my German listeners will be happy today. The German Federal Finance Minister Olaf Scholz has introduced a tax package worth billions into the cabinet to promote electric cars. Germany, the home of diesel. Germany, the home of BMW, Mercedes, VW, those big diesel engine makers. Germany just went in on electric cars big time. Well, the bill provides for an extension of existing subsidies in order to create a planning security in the area, says Electrive. This is taken from a German translation, by the way. It says that the bill was passed by the cabinet today and is going to be implemented by the end of the year. Provides, firstly, a renewal of tax incentives for EVs as company cars to be extended beyond the end of 2021, all the way through until 2030. That is some efficient German long-term planning. Instead of taxing 1% of the list price every month, you now get 0.5% tax. It's been halved for electrics. The tax-free charging at the workplace scheme is where if your employer in Germany allows employees to charge their car and don't charge them, as in they charge their car for free, that's going to remain a tax-free benefit until 2030. The same applies if employees are given a company charging device to use at home. And there are lots of other rules in here as well about persuading companies and fleets to go with EVs. It's a pretty deep dive, actually. Big financial incentives across many different bits of the economy in Germany. Those are the headlines, but there's lots more to read. And I'll put a link to Electrive in the show notes. I mentioned this yesterday. Nissan's had a rough start at the beginning of the year and selling cars is not going well. And I mentioned Nissan, and okay, their fossil business is like a dog at the moment, but they at one point were the leader in EVs. They would argue, they still are, because the Nissan Leaf is the world's most popular EV. For now, it's evidenced by the company's June financial statement released earlier this week, though, on Tuesday afternoon, and covered by Automotive News. The report indicates that Nissan's global production shrank by almost 11% in the first half of the year. Similarly, global vehicle sales are down almost 8%, total exports from Japan almost 18%. Nissan says they're losing money because they're investing money. They're investing money in their future to be ahead of the curve, they say, in electrified and full EV cars. They're spending money on advancing the rollout of driver assistance systems called ProPilot and investments in Google with their Waymo unit. I'll pop a link to Jalopnik in the show notes if you want to read more from that. Automotive News as well. And where are they going with the Nissan Leaf? They just released a bigger 62 kilowatt hour version of that. The car hasn't fundamentally changed, though. The skin changed with the 40, but many bits of the original Leaf with the 40 stayed from the first two versions. There's bits of that car which are long in the tooth now. We need to see more from Nissan if they want to hold on to that position of being the world's number one. Can they rightfully say they are leading the world on EVs, or would you disagree with that? You can always let me know your thoughts on any of the stories, by the way, by leaving a comment online. The YouTube show gets a load of comments. We put the audio on YouTube, and I get a load of emails to hello@evnewsdaily.com. More safety ratings are in for Tesla, and it's not surprising really, but I'll report on the news anyway. What would be surprising if it was anything but a 5-star rating? I told you recently about the European ANCAP tests, and now the safety rating is back from Australia and New Zealand. The ANCAP tests have been done. Well, Model 3 achieved good results in occupant protection and active collision avoidance. Arguably, that's where it excelled amongst any other of its contemporaries. In fact, of any other car they've tested. Adult occupant protection was 96%, child occupant protection 87%. Vulnerable road user protection was 74%, which is not as bad as it sounds. That is about right with some of the cars in that market, largely to do with how the bonnet, the hood as you may call it, deflected if it hit somebody. The impact test on it didn't score as well. But wouldn't the best thing be that you didn't actually hit the person? So the car might score as well, not score as well as others in terms of the actual impact tests. But what if you could avoid the impact? And this is where the Model 3 wins and beats everybody else on safety assist, the highest ever result at 94%. The ANCAP Chief Executive Officer, James Goodwin, said this, and I quote, "This is an impressive result and great to see electric vehicles continuing to prioritise safety. It is encouraging to see Tesla give equal attention to the active safety systems and technologies on board, as well as the safety fundamentals through the structure and restraints." End quote. Now they've put the videos online like you normally see with safety tests. This isn't new, but it is so impressive when you see these videos of, yeah, they'll crash the car into posts and pillars and head on into things and you see the airbags going off. But the really impressive things is when they're sending a Model 3 down an airfield runway and then they push something out in front of it that resembles a child, or they push a cyclist out in front of the car and the way the car just stops, the sensors, the software, the cameras. I mean, it's just amazing technology. This should be on all cars. If Tesla can do it, why can't everyone? We could prevent injuries and ultimately deaths as well through people just accidents, just not even realising, just stepping out in front of cars. But every test they did, the car stopped. Even when they were running a different car, a test car forward on the sort of the test track at 20 miles an hour, and then accelerated the Tesla up to sort of 40 or 60 miles an hour so that it was going to hit it as a rear ender, and whatever they did, the car would just slow down and avoid the collision and stop. Amazing. Let's talk about the Jaguar I-Pace next. I love this car. This is a brilliant EV. Well done, Jaguar. Almost 90% of potential Jaguar I-Pace owners could cover their weekly mileage with a maximum of 2 charges a week, according to data gathered by the company's Go I-Pace. It's an app. Maybe you have an I-Pace and maybe you use the Go I-Pace app. Well, says Chris at Next Green Car website, the app measures daily car use and helps show users how an I-Pace would fit in with their driving needs. Information from those using the system show that 87% of drivers only need 2 full charges a week to cover required mileage. 52% of drivers would need 1 charge a week. More than 35,000 trips have now been logged by the app. The average user covers 216 miles a week, and the average journey is 8.4 miles. Jaguar's I-Pace has a WLTP range of 292 miles on a single charge. Any I-Pace owners listen to this podcast? Let me know what you think of your car. There's one that I see. We charge more often than not when we get our groceries, and our local supermarket, Waitrose, have put in 4 ChargeMaster, BP ChargeMaster, Polar 7 kilowatt posts. So we go in and we get our groceries, and then we're there for an hour or an hour and a half. They got a cafe. Yeah, I'll probably have a coffee and a cake at the weekend as well. And it's free, right? So it's free to charge. There has been an I-Pace there the last few weekends, the same one. And I've never chatted to the owner yet, but I have looked enviously at the Jaguar I-Pace. It's a lovely looking car on the inside as well. Hopefully I'll get to meet them soon and ask them what they think of their car. Well, the first pictures of Tesla's new Hardware 3 have just been leaked onto the internet. Tesla's new autopilot computer, Hardware 3, is enabling full self-driving capability, and it's now been photographed in the wild earlier this year. According to Electrek today, Tesla launched its full self-driving computer, claiming it is objectively the best chip in the world. Well, Fred at Electrek says that Tesla and the new computer have been putting the new computer into the new Model S and the X since beginning of March, I think it was, and in Model 3s since April 12th. Model 3's got the new Hardware 3. However, it looks like, so far, no one's actually posted a picture online. Maybe it's because nobody who bought their Tesla actually wants to open up the thing and have a look. Well, there's a user online who goes by the name of Green. He's a Tesla hacker, and he's been known to bring impressive visualizations of what autopilot can actually see. Now, he shared Autopilot 3. He's taken it apart and put the pictures online. Tesla has been promising retrofits for owners. If you have a Tesla and you've got Hardware 2 or 2.5 and the full self-driving package, yes, you will be getting an update to Hardware 3. That is coming. Well, according to Automobile Mag, the upcoming iNEXT from BMW, that's the one scheduled for 2021. And I talked about recently, few rumours. BMW, of course, need to make an i4, an i5, but what about an i6? This rumour says what is currently called the iNEXT is going to be renamed, and it's going to be called the i6. It's going to be a saloon, and there's going to be 3 battery and powertrain prices, €72,000 up to €110,000, says Inside EVs today. Rumours say the battery pack capacity will be 63, 92 or 103 kilowatt hours. Even a special version coming called the i6S. Nice, because there's the i3 and the i3S, and that's going to have a 115 kilowatt hour battery. The expected range is up to 375 miles, 603 kilometres. That's on par with the WLTP range previously hinted at by BMW. The base version, rear-wheel drive. All other versions, four-wheel drive. Top of the line i6S, 0 to 60, 2.8 seconds. BMW. Now you're cooking. Let's talk China and BAIC. And the Chinese automotive manufacturer, BAIC, has an EV subsidiary called BJEEV. And it's working on 6 new fully electric models based on 3 new platforms by 2021. If you would like a new BJEEV, the new vehicles are going to be sedans, SUVs and vans, but they are playing this very close to their chest because they're not actually telling us what those 6 cars are going to be. Well, there's been a 2 billion yuan investment, that is $291 million in US dollars. There's been a 50,000 square metre development facility established with 14 other partners to develop EVs. And that includes Magna. They're the ones that build the I-Pace, by the way. They build cars for other people. BAIC's investor Daimler. CATL, makers of batteries. Huawei, yes, they're involved too. What about if you have a older Tesla and you want to play the newer games that are being released, and you can't because physically the computer inside it, we're not talking about Hardware 3 that I was a moment ago, but physically that computer is too old. Well, when responding to a Tesla owner online, Elon Musk has been talking about this. The user online on Twitter said that to Elon that they would happily pay for an updated MCU and the LTE connection for better connectivity, and Elon responded, it's possible. So if you have a really old S or an X, looks like you might be able to do it, says Teslarati. Providing MCU upgrade solutions for older versions of the S and the X mean that you could well play the latest games available to everybody else in Tesla Arcade. The ones you would want to update are older than March 2018. From 2011 era onwards, they used the NVIDIA Tegra 3 chips. They worked, they just weren't that smooth, and they can't play the latest games coming out in Tesla Arcade. So again, I don't know how smooth that system would be to update those cars, but Elon did respond on Twitter. Yes, it's possible. Right, finally, let's talk about electric taxis. LEVC, it's the taxi company owned by Geely. Or maybe it's Geely, as I've heard it pronounced lately. Their electric London black cabs have helped save cabbies a collective $3.85 million on fuel since launching in London last year, with the manufacturer today saying they are celebrating the rollout of its 2,500th car. If that sentence makes sense. They've made 2,500 electric taxis, says Business Green. The Chinese-owned firm said that the range extender EVs, so yeah, they're not pure EVs, by the way. They are running on battery power. The drivetrain is always driven by battery power, but if you do run out of battery, there is a small petrol motor buried away on the back, and yes, it will run to recharge the battery. So it's not a pure EV, but it's as close as you're going to get. And these are London cabbies. These people who drive for a living, they need to be reassured that they're not going to get caught short and run out of battery with a fare on board, with a customer. So I get why range extenders are important for this first phase of electric cabs in London. They are celebrating 2,500 of them, and in electric mode, it'll do 80 miles. And of course, if you think about doing those short journeys around London, so much of it is about cutting air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions in the really dense, built-up inner city areas. I'll pop a link to Business Green in the show notes. Thank you to you if your name online is Bulletproof, because user Bulletproof just left me a new review on Apple Podcasts. I've been listening to this daily podcast on the world of EVs and sustainable energy for around 6 months. It's my essential daily fix on the subjects. Martin dishes up all the facts that you need to know about the constantly changing and developing EV and clean energy landscape. Highly recommended. Oh, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid, says Bulletproof. Thank you for your comment on Apple Podcasts. Hey, if you haven't left me one yet, I'd really appreciate it. It's dead easy to do, but I know you're busy, so no worries if not. Let's get on to our question of the week this week, set by myev.com. As EVs become more popular, do you think there's still a camaraderie amongst EV drivers, as there always was when it was early adopters? Is that still the case now more and more people are buying them? Let me know. Email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com. Leave a comment on YouTube. Thank you to 236 patrons of the show. You do make this show happen, and it wouldn't happen without you. I would do my very, very best, of course, to make sure that it did, but as these things grow and streaming gets more expensive, I think we ended the month, I know we ended the month last month with £23 in the business account. Oh, by the way, it is run as a business. It's not like the money is going into my pocket on, cake and loose women. We cut it fine last month, but we're doing okay. It's all right. Thank you very much to 236 patrons of the show. Your generosity keeps me going. Thank you to our premium partners, Phil Roberts of Electric Future, doing big solar installs in the UK. Hello to Brad Crosby. Thank you for supporting and Avid Technology. Those are our 3 premium partners. And our new feature, Ask Avid, coming soon when I'm back from my holidays next week. If you want to get some previous shows, the archive is online for free. There are 543 of those shows. The blog is evnewsdaily.com. If you hit subscribe in your podcast app, if you're a new listener, a first-time listener, all you got to do is hit subscribe. It's a free subscription, and then you'll get the show before anybody else. Come and say hi on socials by searching EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid. Exactly what Bulletproof said.